Okay, let's talk about teamwork. We've spent a lot of time talking about teams. Teamwork is not something that you're born knowing how to do. It's learned behavior. First of all, you need to have a definition of what a team is. This is about the best one I've ever found. Small number of people who have complementary skills, who are committed. Notice the C word seems to creep in there. They have a common purpose, common performance goals, and a common approach, and they hold each other mutually accountable. Okay? So on really good teams, the manager doesn't do a lot of managing. He kind of directs the energy. Most of what happens through peer pressure. Team culture at Rational, everybody's on a team. And what are you responsible for as a team member? Well, you have to know these things. Who's on the team? What are their skills? What are the goals of the team? What are the standards of performance? How are the goals going to be achieved? What's the approach? What should you do if you don't know one or more of these things? Find out. Ask. Okay? You can't do your job if you don't know these things. How can you be an effective team member if you don't know the answers to these questions? So if you don't know, find out. That's your responsibility. You're also responsible for communication. We expect you to communicate up, down, and across. Okay? And we expect mutual accountability. You're going to hold your teammates accountable. They're going to hold you accountable. That's the glue. Now, with responsibilities come entitlements. Okay? So as a team member, what are you entitled to? Well, besides a paycheck, 3 things. Clear definition of your job. If you don't know what it is you're supposed to do, you can't do it. Okay? Now, that doesn't mean you're going to get a detailed specification. We're not going to tell you how to hold your pencil. Okay? But you need to know what it is you're supposed to be doing. We expect clear communication. Just as we expect everyone else to communicate with you, we expect you to communicate with other people. And you're entitled to know where you stand at all times. So we have periodic performance appraisal and review, but that's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is knowing if at all times if you're doing a good job or not a good job. In every high-performance organization I've ever worked in, people knew where they stood. And if you don't know where you stand, go talk to your manager. You have a right to know where you stand. We're a team of teams, so if you're a team leader, you form a team with other team leaders. If you're a team member, you need to understand the interfaces. How do you communicate within your team, and how do you communicate outside your team? And teams are not enclaves. Okay, the purpose of a team is not to get the wagons in a circle and fend off the other teams. Okay, that's not what teams are all about. Okay, they're not enclaves. So, what are the skills you need for successful teamwork? Well, there's about a handful of them. Good questioning and listening skills. Most of us are pretty good on the first one. We could all use some improvement on the second one. Leadership and what I call fellowship skills. You're not always the team leader. When you're not the team leader, learn how to be a good follower. You need to understand this process of resolving conflict or resolving differences of opinion. This is very important. In early stages of discussion, we expect people to advocate their position strongly. So if Dave and I, to use an example, disagree on something, early in the process, I expect Dave to fight for his position as hard as he can. Now, he's got to be professional about it. He's got to attack my position on the merits. He can't attack it personally, and vice versa. But that exchange early in the process, where there's strong advocacy, is very, very important. Because otherwise we don't get out the right intellectual exchange of ideas. But at some point we have to get to consensus. And what that means is we're not a debating society. We can't argue about this forever because we've got a business to run here. At some point we have to make a decision and move on. And what that means is that we have to decide to either do it Dave's way or my way or some compromise of the two. And that's what I call coming to consensus. And then once we do, we have to have commitment. And that is independent of how we felt during advocacy. Dave and I have to now both commit to that solution going forward. And where teams get in trouble, or organizations get in trouble, is when you get to this point, people looping back and going back into advocacy mode. Okay, basically dragging things up again and revisiting decisions. That's very destructive. Okay, if you can't commit, you have to get off the team. Okay? Being part of a team means that when you reach consensus, you commit, and then you back that wholeheartedly. You have to have a willingness to do your part. Teams can't carry people who don't perform. Ability to both give and receive constructive feedback. That's what we expect of our peers, of our team members. The most difficult kinds of feedback I've ever had to deal with at Rational have not been from my supervisors. It's been from my peers. And your peers are in the best possible position to evaluate what you're doing because they're closer to the work in reality than your managers. So take that feedback seriously. Good manners, return emails, phone calls promptly. Please get to meetings on time. We had lots of people that trickled in at 5 after, 10 after, 20 after this morning. It's bad manners. It's bad business. It costs the company a lot of money because either people start on time and then there's the disruption of people trickling in, or people wait, which I think is rude to the people who had the good manners to get here on time. So just get to meetings on time. Make it a good habit. And finally, care more about getting the job done than who gets the credit. It's incredible what you can get done in this world if you just don't care who gets the credit. If we're successful, if we get the job done, there'll be more than enough credit to go around. And if we fail, it doesn't matter. We succeed or fail as one team. Okay? So who gets the credit is really besides the point. Concentrate and care more about getting the job done.